Hello, good afternoon. Today we are going to see as a summary of what we have seen in both qualitative and quantitative research approaches. We have already seen how to organize the middle sections of the research paper. We have seen that we have two approaches. We have qualitative versus quantitative, and depending on the approach, we are going to organize our body sections or middle sections of the research paper. So we have seen what is meant by qualitative research paper and what is meant by quantitative. We have seen what are the purposes of both and what are the research methods associated with both approaches. As a summary, I'm going to talk about the differences between these approaches. All right. It's a topic which is very, since most of the students don't know what is meant by qualitative and quantitative, and they cannot unfortunately differentiate between them. So to start with, quantitative research is a research approach relying on collecting data through quantitative methods, so as to prove the validity of the hypothesis. Alright, the data which are used in quantitative are numbers. Alright, we collect these numerical data from the large samples we use in our methodology when conducting quantitative research. The sample used in quantitative research really resembles the real social group. For example, a research paper conducted in the field of education, or in TEFL, or in ESP. So we take a sample. The sample is few students or few teachers, few students or few. Maybe we rely on few students or few teachers. So the few teachers belong to let's say the teaching world. All right. The results are analyzed statistically and can be generalized. So we collect numbers from our large sample size. We rely on in order to analyze these numerical data statistically, and the results can be generalized. On the other hand, qualitative research analyzes data using non-statistic methods or techniques, because the purpose is to find out new insights and perspectives, reach new understanding of the topic under study. Alright, since the data are not numerical and no statistics are used, no statistical methods are used in order to analyze the results, so the results are just reached through observation, through analyzing data, analyzing images, documents, or analyzing, let's say, the contents of what is written. All right. This is a short table which lists down the major or the most important differences between qualitative and quantitative research approach. To start with, qualitative research is naturalistic. What is meant by naturalistic? Naturalistic, it means that the researcher does not have the right to intervene in the phenomenon or the event or the data he is using, or or the topic he is studying. It means if he is dealing with a topic or with an event that took place in 1998 or 1783, he is going to study it in its natural setting. All right, he doesn't intervene by inserting some events or omitting some events or including some characters. No, he has to study it in its natural setting. However, quantitative research is positivistic. What is meant by positivistic? It means after selecting the research problem, after identifying the major problem of the topic being studied, the researcher has to put a given methodology, has to make a design for his study. Alright, in qualitative research we give a complete detailed description of the events or the topic being studied. However, in quantitative research we do not describe, we don't give a detailed description of the topic being studied, or the topic under study. So it is we just let's say just few description because we have a given methodology, we have a design to work on. In qualitative research, the focus is on interpreting the behavior. Try to explain, try to understand the phenomenon and the study. And however, in quantitative research, prediction of the behavior. Since we have variables, so we predict, we try to know in advance what will happen to the event being studied. In qualitative research, we conduct qualitative research when we know little about the topic and you want to know more about. So the beginning is that we don't know much about the topic. Then we have, as far as quantitative, we try to make explicit and clear what we are looking for. So we have the variables, we state the variables, and then we, let's say, we set the variables from the beginning. We identify the variables of the study, the problem, and we make it clear what are we going to find out. We have to list, we have to find out the relationship between the variables. So it is clear, set, clear from the beginning in quantitative research what we are going to find out. Also, as I said, quantitative research is less detailed, and the design of the study in qualitative research emerges during the study. It means let's say it means that in writing qualitative research paper, the design goes with the flow of ideas. Sometimes we keep it as it is, sometimes we change, sometimes we add some data, sometimes we omit, and so on. Research in qualitative research always ends with a theory, since we seek major understanding of the topic being studied. Qualitative research is somehow most of the times time consuming. Quantitative research is regarded as research in which time is less consumed. It is detailed. Qualitative research is too detailed, and quantitative research is less detailed. Alright, what are the characteristics of both? We are going to see, alright, I am going to list down the characteristics relying on each step. Alright, as far as quantitative research, we ask specific narrow questions. We ask specific narrow questions. What is the relationship between variable A and variable B? How does variable? It's very, very specific. We recommend to ask questions in quantitative research in that way, in this way. We collect data from the participants through questionnaires, through surveys, interviews, and so on. And we analyze the numbers using statistical methods or statistical figures. Also, in quantitative research, the research is conducted in a very objective manner. Sometimes it is unbiased. All right. However, in qualitative research, we generally speaking ask broad and general questions. Then we collect data from texts, from images, from documents after reading them. Then we describe and analyze the contents of what we have already collected or what we have read. And also qualitative research sometimes is conducted in subjective and unbiased and biased manner, especially in ethnography. Sometimes not what is written in a research paper, as far as ethnography is concerned, should be trusted by the researcher. All right. What characterizes both? All right. I would like to identify the differences between them, relying on each step of conducting both researches. To start with, in identifying the research problem, as far as quantitative research, we have to describe clearly. To describe clearly the relationship between the variables, whether there exists a relationship between them or not. Also, in the literature review, there must be consulted. We have to consult as much as we can. The literature review as far as quantitative research, to know exactly and thoroughly what we are going to look for in our research topic, and also to know exactly what the previous research works have dealt with as far as our topic of research. On the other hand, qualitative research is done when, let's say, is conducted or done when we know nothing about, we know a little about the topic or the research problem being analyzed or discussed. So it looks like, because the purpose is to reach a detailed understanding of the phenomenon or the topic under study. Also, in conducting qualitative research, it is not important to consult the literature review or the other works done in the topic. All right. As I have already said, conducting the literature review in quantitative research is of a major role in order to suggest an appropriate and clear research question as far as our topic in quantitative research is concerned. Also, it helps in justifying the direction of the study as far as the research problem is concerned. However, in qualitative research, as I said, the literature review plays a minor role in suggesting the research question. It's only because also in the literature review We just need to identify the importance of the research being conducted. Alright, in collecting data, in collecting data, quantitative research, the data are collected through instruments like questionnaires, like interviews, surveys, and so on. And also, it is not advised to collect data from only one individual, but from a large size of our target population. However, in qualitative research, data are collected. The data in qualitative research rely on texts, on narratives, on documents, on memories, and so on. So the data exists in the form of let's say people's arguments, authors' points of views, and so on. So data are gathered from texts and from documents. All right. In analyzing and interpreting data, there is also a difference, a major difference in both quantitative and qualitative data as far as analyzing and interpreting data. In quantitative research, data are analyzed statistically. It means we collect numerical data from our participants, from using questionnaires, using surveys, interviews, and so on, and then we transform them using statistical models, because statistical figures like charts, like tables, and so on, because we need to interpret them. And we describe also when we analyze data. Sometimes we describe, sometimes we compare, we make a difference. Because all the data that is discussed and analyzed should have a relationship with the variables of our study we use when studying or analyzing the research problems. And also the analysis in interpreting or analyzing data, we seek to, let's say, explain whether there is a relationship between the variables being studied or not. However, in qualitative research, the data which are analyzed, we basically analyze and interpret data relying on text analysis and description of the themes or description of the contents. So we analyze and we describe the contents used in qualitative, used in the document, in the documents, or in let's say in the multiple sources we have gathered or we have relied for our research. As far as reporting and evaluating research, in quantitative research we seek to understand and evaluate, let's say, the major criteria used in our research. We seek to understand the relationship between both independent and dependent variables. Also, the research approach in quantitative research takes, let's say, an objective character. It means there is no bias. The researcher does not intervene with his bias. He just observes and explains. However, in qualitative research, in reporting or evaluating the research, as far as qualitative research is concerned, we seek, as I said, an exploration. It is exploratory research in order to find out many things, many hidden things about the topic being studied. As I have already mentioned, qualitative research is sometimes subjective, and the researcher sometimes intervenes with his bias, or especially when conducting an ethnographic study. So this is in summary what I have prepared, or what I have done for identifying let's say the differences between both approaches, qualitative and quantitative research approaches. Thank you very much indeed. See you in other lectures filmed.